we'll just start, have you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, can I have some scholars please help me just stand with the signs?
I got this one.
Thank you, Senator. All right. Whew. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Yeah, there we go. Thank you all for joining us today. If the speakers could please join me up here. And if I can get some scholars just to stand, please. Susan, if you can hold the sign so they don't hit us. Wonderful. Kai, if you can make, thank you. Hey. Wonderful. My name is Gabby Pacheco. I am the president and CEO of the Dream.us, the nation's leading organization supporting dreamers at the intersection of higher education, workforce development, immigration, and advocacy. In the last 12 years, we've provided college scholarships to over 13,000 dreamers, many in Arizona. Today, 5,000 of them are college graduates working for Fortune 500 companies. They're in hospitals and classrooms, and they prove that when our country invests in dreamers, America gains teachers, engineers, nurses, entrepreneurs, and leaders who strengthen not just our economy, but our future. And we stand before you today with our dreamers because they are facing growing threats. There are dramatically increased delays in DACA renewals. There are reports of examples of country-specific pauses on DACA renewals due to travel bans. And dreamers with and without DACA are now being targeted for detention and even deportation from the only country they have known. All of this is not only terrifying for dreamers and for all of us who love them, but it's also deeply alarming to our nation. It is harmful. It is weakening our economy and hurting our communities. And it's undermining the values we hold dear as Americans. So today our speakers will each share their perspective on why we must work together to chart a different vision for dreamers in this nation. First, I want to say thank you to the senators who are joining us. And I want to especially thank Senator Kelly and his staff for helping us put this press conference together. I would like to turn to you, to the Senator from Arizona, Senator Mark Kelly.
Thank you, Gabby. It's one of my favorite names.
Yes.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm proud to be here as we continue this fight for some real solutions to start fixing this broken immigration system, and importantly, one that gives a pathway to dreamers like those who are here today. I think most of us and most Americans agree that we can enforce our laws without having chaos in the streets or tearing hardworking families and communities apart. And that our country would benefit from an immigration system that is fair and one that actually works. Instead, in Arizona and across the country, we've seen the targeting of law-abiding individuals, including dreamers, and grandmothers and business owners and veterans and even young children. Last year on a trip to Poland, on my way to Ukraine, I had dinner with a group of Arizonans who were stationed there. And one of them was a staff sergeant named Matthew Blank. I never expected the next time that I talked to him, it would be because that his new wife, Annie Ramos, was put into an ICE detention facility just days after their wedding. Annie's a dreamer and a dream scholar. She's been in this country since she was 22 months old, and she's now a bright college student at Arizona State University, school my daughter went to. She's also a military spouse preparing for all that entails in what I consider actually her service to this country, not only her husband's. And while Annie has thankfully been released from custody, her life is still not back to normal. She still has to go through this immigration process. Now, it's a good thing that she has a caring husband, a supportive family behind her, like her mother-in-law, Jen, who is standing with us today. But here's the thing, there are thousands of people like Annie who were brought to this country when they were children. They have no criminal record, they pay their taxes, and they contribute to our country. And they're being held at ICE detention facilities right now, facing deportation to a country that they do not know. In what world does it make sense for us to focus our time and our effort chasing down and holding people like Annie? We should be chasing down serious criminals. This is her home. She is, as every way, an American just like my own two daughters. And her contributions make our community and our economy and our country stronger. More and more, we are hearing about DACA holders being caught in the crosshairs of this administration's mass deportation campaign. Even while there are protections in place, they do it anyway. And my office is hearing from more and more people every day about lengthy, unexpected, and unexplained delays in processing their work permit renewals. It's not right, and it seems intentional. And this leaves hardworking people who have done everything right in limbo. It creates uncertainty for them, their employers, and their families. Nobody benefits from this. We are a nation of immigrants and a nation of laws, and we are fully capable of honoring both. We can build an immigration system where people like Annie have a pathway to staying here without the constant fear of being locked up in a detention center and then deported. A system that treats her and other dreamers with fairness, with dignity, while ensuring our country remains safe and secure. That kind of progress, that can happen if Congress and the White House are serious about passing long-term solutions for dreamers. Hey, there's no world where we cannot make this happen. This can become the reality. We can pass laws to make sure that dreamers are safe and secure in the only home many of them have ever known.
Thank you so much, Senator. Now I would like to introduce you to El Senador, our senator from California, Senator Alex Padilla.
Good afternoon, everybody. Buenas tardes. 14 years ago, our country made a promise to young people who were brought to the United States as children, not their decision, their parents' decision, a promise that if they came out of the shadows and followed some simple rules, that they would be protected in this country, the only country that they've ever truly known. And thousands upon thousands of young people did that. They believed that promise, and they held up their end of the bargain. They went to school, they went to work, they built careers, many becoming nurses and teachers, not just construction workers, some even doctors and lawyers. They started families. And through their lives, they strengthened not just families, but their entire communities. And they've contributed so much to this country, the only country they've ever called home. But now we're in the second Trump administration, an administration whose approach to immigration policy can be described as a bull in a china shop, causing so much damage, so much destruction, and not just breaking that promise of DACA, but shattering it. We hear cases of both DACA participants and Dreamers more broadly being detained and deported. Many DACA recipients just simply waiting what used to be and should be a routine renewal of their status. We've heard reports of a Justice Department handpicked panel of judges saying that DACA protections, quote, don't actually protect Dreamers from deportation. Why the change? When and how this change? This is entirely the point of DACA program, to recognize that young people who are contributing to our country and have no criminal record, who were brought here as children, should not be deported. They deserve protections. In fact, what they deserve is not just lawful status, but a pathway to citizenship. And my office, too, in California, similar to what Senator Kelly shared in Arizona, is getting increasing calls of people who submitted their renewal paperwork on more than a timely basis and are waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting so long that their protections expire. And they're now living in more uncertainty, in more fear. Some applicants have been waiting 6 months or longer for a renewal decision that used to take just a few weeks. Now, it's not just a handful of cases. It's literally into the hundreds since the beginning of the year. And I want to share just one of many examples. A woman named Ariel, a nurse in San Francisco, who's lived in the United States since she was 2 years old. She filed her renewal paperwork 135 days before the expiration. She followed every rule. She did everything right. She did what we asked of her. She did what she was supposed to do, like she's done every 2 years like clockwork. Ariel's DACA status expired in April, and to this day, her renewal status still hasn't been processed. It's not her fault, but she's about to lose her job. Her job, which involves caring for sick people. And the promotion she was working towards, that's put on hold because of the failure and cruelty of the Trump administration. And so here's the thing, with Ariel's case being just one example, it's not just about Ariel and her loved ones. Ariel is just one of 27,000 healthcare workers and support staff across the country who rely on DACA not just for protections, but for their ability to work. So when nurses and other care workers like Ariel are pushed out because of the callousness of this administration, it's also their patients who suffer and the quality of care for all of us that suffers. It does not have to be this way. Ariel deserves better. All DACA participants deserve better. Our country is better than this. It's long past time that Congress do the right thing and pass the DREAM Act once and for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Senator Padilla. Now, it is likely one of the greatest honors of my life to be able to introduce the man who has made it his life's work to fight for Dreamers, who introduced the DREAM Act 25 years ago. And in 2010, when hundreds of Dreamers across the country watched in the Senate gallery as the DREAM Act missed just getting those 5 extra votes to beat a Senate filibuster, he told us, "Do not give up on me. I will not give up on you. And 2 years later, I can tell you with certainty that if it wasn't for Senator Durbin, there would be no DACA. This is the man that fought to ensure we got DACA today. And today he continues to fight alongside us. And this is the year that we are going to get the DREAM Act. For our dreamers, for the man who has been fighting for us, and for our country. Please, Senator Durbin, come to the podium. Thank you.
Thanks, Gabby. We've had quite a few press conferences together. And this is one that I look forward to because we need to meet, we need to be resolved, we need to remember why we're here and why time is running out for so many who are an important part of America's future. Yes, I introduced the DREAM Act 25 years ago. Over the span of time, a fellow Illinois senator by the name of Barack Obama joined me as a co-sponsor, and then he went on to another job. And I reached out to him when he was President of the United States with a letter that I co-signed with Richard Lugar, Republican senator from Indiana, asking President Barack Obama to create by executive order protection for the Dreamers. And he did. He created DACA. 830,000 registered to be part of DACA. 830,000. And what did that mean? It meant every 2 years, for protection from being deported and for the right to work legally into the United States, they had to come forward and pay a fee of around $600, go through a complete criminal background check before they were approved for 2 years, and then do it again. That was just part of the system. The system worked and worked well. These young people became part of America, a place they'd always aspired to be part of, as teachers and nurses and caregivers and law enforcement and military, and the list goes on and on. I remember when we first got DACA that there was a sign-up period at Navy Pier in Chicago. Congressman Luis Gutierrez and I came together and said, we ought to get some volunteer lawyers down here to sign people up for DACA. It's just starting tomorrow. And we said, well, how many people will come in? We said several hundred for sure. So be prepared with a dozen volunteer attorneys. We had our volunteer attorneys come in to the meeting place, and they looked outside and said, there's a line that stretches back further than we can see. Literally thousands showed up that day on Navy Pier. And I will tell you one thing I want to share at this moment because I think it's so important. Many of them came up to me ahead of time and said, Senator Durbin, are you sure that I should have my daughter or my son sign up for this program and volunteer all this information about who we are, where we live, and the fact that we're undocumented, but they will have a chance to be part of DACA? Are you sure that the government won't use that information against us at some time? I said, follow the law exactly as it is written and announced in executive order, and we'll stand by you. Just believe in us to do that. Well, I didn't anticipate the current president and what he is now doing. He is taking those who are eligible for DACA. First, he won't let them sign up to renew their DACA protection, and if they do, they become subject to deportation. We know that that's happening across the United States, and it is just a heartbreak to think that these families who trusted me, who trusted our government to treat them with respect, that now they're being turned on, and these poor young people are being deported and their families are in jeopardy. That's why this is so critical and so important. It is not just another political issue. It is a matter of life and death and the future of so many hundreds of thousands of people who should be part of America's future. They are already making us better. They need to be part not only of DACA, but of America. And that means we got to continue this battle. Let's not give it up this year. Let's not give it up at all. Thanks to Lisa Murkowski, a Republican of Alaska, for being my co-sponsor on the DREAM Act. She deserves a round of applause. And thanks to all of you. Don't give up on DACA. They never gave up on us, and we're counting on them to be part of our future. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. And there is a Spotlight Forum that is happening this afternoon where we'll continue and we'll hear. And we just want to say thank you to Senator Padilla, Senator Durbin, for your work in this, and we won't give up. We will be standing right alongside you.
3:30, Heart 216.
3:30, Heart 216. See you there.
Yes, thank you.
I would like to turn now to Jen. Jen has become not just the mom of Matthew, not just the mom of Annie Ramos, but I think in her heart of hearts, the mom of now many dreamers. She is here. She flew all the way from Arizona in a very short notice because she wants to use her voice to talk about what happened to Annie, to say that what happened to her was wrong, but also to talk to moms and to talk to just everyday Americans who are not understanding or have no knowledge of what is happening in our country. I'm just so grateful for Jen and for everything she has done and will continue to do. Jen.
Thank you for having me today. And thank you to Senator Kelly for all that he's done and all that he said, the wonderful words for our family. He's been a blessing to all of us. Thank you, Don. My name is Jen Rickling. Until about a month ago, I could not have imagined speaking at a press conference like this. As a Southern Arizona resident, immigration and border security issues have always been in the news and part of our lives. But they really hadn't hit home in a personal way until we watched our daughter-in-law Annie be taken away in handcuffs. After our son, her husband, Matthew, we went to his military post a few days after they were married. They took her away in handcuffs as my son watched. After nearly a week of sleepless nights and public outcry, Annie was freed from detention. Yet even now, Annie and Matthew's future together remains uncertain. She's wearing an ankle monitor. She can't travel outside the state of Louisiana. Annie is everything that you would want in a daughter-in-law. She's a biochemistry major, almost ready to graduate college at Arizona State University. She's a Sunday school teacher. She's someone who's deeply and passionately in love with my son. The best way I can describe her is someone who brings light to everyone she interacts with. After her detention, we were able to speak with her, and she was actually aiding the medical staff at the detention center in translating between English and Spanish for some of the detainees and the ICE personnel. She had an order of removal issued when she was a toddler. She was brought here as a baby. But since that point, she's studied hard. She graduated from high school, the top of her class, actually. She has built a life. She's demonstrated her character and fallen in love with Matthew, a man serving his country. I'm very conservative. Our family is very conservative, and we believe strongly in our efforts to secure the border. But there's a place for this type of immigration reform for both sides. I don't think that a deportation order from 2 decades ago, from when Annie was a baby, should get to override her marriage and her life over the past 20 years. For Annie and other dreamers like her, there has to be a better way than detention and deportation. I believe we can do better than this, not just for Matthew and Annie, but for other military families and for the values that we hold dear as Americans. Thank you. Thank you, Gabby, for everything.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you for your courage, your commitment. And now I would like to introduce to you one of my heroes, Don Graham. I get the pleasure of working with Don and have been working with Don since 2013 when he reached out and said, I want to help dreamers. I want to be able to give them a college scholarship. And 13,000 dreamers later, here we are. This is one of Dreamers' biggest champions, Don Graham.
Thank you, Gabby. Gabby and I are a mutual hero society, and even Senator Durbin didn't mention how instrumental Gabby was in the creation of DACA in 2012. So I will be very brief. I'm a long ago publisher of the Washington Post. I'm a sponsor of many scholarship programs for citizens of my hometown, Washington, D.C. I'm a Vietnam veteran, and I'm the co-founder of the Dream.us. I will speak as eloquently as I can today, but I really should not be the one speaking. You should be hearing from today's dreamers, from the high school and college students in your hometown who are undocumented, who have moved heaven and earth to try to go to college so they can help their families and help this country. They are some of the most eloquent speakers I ever heard, but just today they're better off not raising their voices in public for reasons we all understand. Most of the people listening to me are not originally from Washington, D.C., and many of you know a lot about education in your hometowns. Let me ask you a question. Suppose there were no federal grants like Pell Grants. Suppose there were no federal loans to help low-income Americans go to college. How many poorer students do you think would be able to attend college? How many would go? How many would graduate? Your answer is probably almost none, or my answer, only the most motivated. Of course, this is the situation of the dreamers, and always has been. It is only exceptional students who even contemplate college when they're undocumented because they get no such aid. Now suppose you were an employer like me. Would you want to hire in any job in your organization? What is the number one quality you look for regardless of what the job is? I'll tell you, it is motivation. Wouldn't you like to employ these super motivated students? Well, somebody does, because among those of our graduates who have DACA and therefore have work permits, 94% get a full-time job within 6 months with no help from us. The administration says they do not want immigrants who will become public charges. I will stand here and guarantee that not one of our students will. They don't want to harbor criminals. But DACA recipients have proven to the Department of Homeland Security itself that they've never been convicted of a crime. And thousands of today's dreamers only want the chance to prove the same thing. Our average student out of 13,000 undocumented college students came here as a 4-year-old. Our country doesn't punish people for things they do when they were 4 years old, except for them. As a 24-year CEO of a public company, I want to tell you that these young people make great workers. Our graduates want to be nurses, teachers, and beginning business workers. They want to contribute. Give them a chance. Let them enlist in the U.S. Armed Forces. Challenge them to work in healthcare settings or classrooms in rural America where such people are badly needed. It is my honor and Gabby's to speak on behalf of our students. But I cannot find the words to tell you how remarkable these young people are. The president is right to try to free the country of bad people, truly bad people, murderers, drug dealers, and people who've done very bad things. But while we act against bad people, the United States of America should find a way to welcome truly good ones. Gabby, back to you.
Thank you, Don. So, as Don said, we're here because of the Dreamers. And I would like to now call Kai Martin, who I'm proud to call a friend and an alumnus of the Dream.us.
Thank you so much, Gabby. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kai Martin, and I am one of the thousands of DACA recipients currently experiencing delays in my renewal. I came to the United States from Trinidad and Tobago, and for more than a decade, DACA has allowed me to study, work, and serve the only country that I call home. I applied for DACA since 2012, and like all dreamers, I paid the $555 fee, submitted my renewals on time, and followed every requirement. Yet, despite doing everything correctly, I am once again facing delays that are putting my future on hold. In 2018, I graduated from John Jay College of Criminal Justice. Later, I earned my master's degree in public policy from George Washington University. This led me down a career path consisting of program evaluation, grant management, and community development, all rooted in one goal: ensuring that solution-based programs are implemented to serve people well. As a former The Dream.US scholar, I now serve as an advisory board member, continuing to support students who are walking the same path I once did. Recently, I'm very proud to say that I was accepted into a PhD program at Howard University, a milestone I worked years to achieve. This program requires me to contribute to research to promote economic development in underserved communities. But my DACA delay is now putting that opportunity at risk. It is hard to explain what it means to have your future pause, not because of your efforts or qualifications, but because of administrative delays beyond your control. For nearly 14 years, dreamers like me have contributed to this country, renewed every 2 years, paid our fees, and still we live in uncertainty. I am asking for a system that reflects the reality that we already live. That is our home and our contributions, and that deserves permanence. Thank you all for your time today. Thank you, Gabby.
Thank you. That was so well said. Now we'll hear from Lane Glenn, the president of Northern Essex Community College in Massachusetts.
Thank you, Gabby. Don, I admire your iPad game there. I'm going to have to up my game a bit. My name is Lane Glenn. I'm the president of Northern Essex Community College, and I'm also a member of the President's Alliance on Higher Education and Immigration. We are a nonpartisan group of around 600 presidents of colleges and universities across the country who know that immigrants, including dreamers, are an essential part of the life of our campuses today and central to the future of higher education and to our country's economic vitality tomorrow. As New England's first federally recognized Hispanic-serving institution, Northern Essex serves the largest proportion of Hispanic students, more than half of any college or university in Massachusetts. Today, most of those students are from the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, and Central and South America. One of our two campuses is in the city of Lawrence, which is nicknamed the Immigrant City, because it was founded in the 19th century as a home for immigrant labor along the Merrimack River, and it's been occupied by wave after wave of immigrants ever since. For nearly 2 centuries, those immigrants, Irish, Polish, Lebanese, Italian, and now Dominican, have helped build American prosperity. And for more than half a century, they've been taking classes at Northern Essex Community College, where we are proud to educate dreamers who arrived in America as children, grew up in the cities and towns along the Merrimack River Valley, the only home many of them have ever known, and are now part of more than 500,000 dreamers enrolled in colleges and universities across the United States. Dreamers like Rosa, one of our students who secured her DACA status and studied criminal justice before going to work as a 911 dispatch operator. She, like others you've heard about today, now lives in uncertainty, not knowing if her DACA status is going to be renewed or if a court case will turn against her and other dreamers and send her to a country that she barely remembers. Her real fear, though, is for her youngest brother, Raphael, who applied for his own DACA status, but whose application was halted by the Fifth Circuit Court decision that has frozen all new applications for the last 5 years. While Rosa has temporary protection and work status, her younger brother with the same life experience from the same household, who is a brilliant student studying accounting with ambitions to open his own small business, is even more vulnerable and afraid. The threats facing dreamers with and without DACA are real. I see the growing fear and the uncertainty on our campus, fueled by DACA processing delays and rising concerns about detentions and deportation. We know even greater threats lie ahead if we don't make a change. We stand to lose a generation of talents. As you heard Senator Kelly say, we are a nation of immigrants. Our colleges, communities, and economy all need Rosa, Raphael, and dreamers everywhere to succeed. Our students should not have to keep living from court decision to court decision and policy change to policy change. From our campuses, the message is simple. We need stability. We need a path forward so students can learn without fear, researchers can pursue their innovative ideas, and our academic communities can thrive. Congress has the opportunity now to provide permanent protections through bipartisan solutions that a majority of Americans have supported for years, like the DREAM Act and the American Dream and Promise Act. We owe it to our students, and we owe it to the nation. Thank you.
Thank you, Lane. Lane doesn't know this, but I'm his #1 fan. He has a really great post that he puts out. You haven't written one in a long time. So finally, I'm proud to turn the microphone over to our final speaker, Dixie Ortiz. She's going to deliver remarks in English and Spanish, and she's another Dream the U.S. alumna that, like thousands of fellow DACA recipients across America, today she's a teacher. Dixie.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to share my story. My name is Dixie, and I have lived in the United States for 19 years since I was 10 years old. This country is home. It is where I grew up, where I went to school, where I built my future, and where I now help shape the future of others. When an opportunity to obtain some sort of status, I did. Since 2012, I have applied for DACA, and because of DACA, I was able to pursue my education and become a teacher. I graduated from George Mason University in 2019 with my bachelor's degree in integrative studies with a focus in elementary education. And in 2020, I earned my master's in elementary education. For the past 6 years, I have had the privilege of teaching hundreds of children. Every day, I help students learn to read, solve problems, believe in themselves, and dream bigger for their futures. Some of the children have taught me one day become doctors, engineers, teachers, maybe even members of Congress. I am deeply grateful for DACA, but living on temporary protection for over a decade also means living with uncertainty. Every 2 years, I worry whether my renewal will arrive on time. I worry about losing the career I worked so hard for. I worry about being separated from the community and students who depend on me. I have spent nearly my entire life contributing to this country. I am simply asking for the opportunity to continue to doing so with certainty and dignity. The chance to apply not only for permanent residency, but one day citizenship. As a teacher, I encourage my students to believe in their future. I hope that one day I can finally feel secure in mine too. Buenas tardes, gracias por la oportunidad de compartir mi historia. Mi nombre es Dixie y he vivido en los Estados Unidos por 19 años, desde que tenía 10 años de edad. Este país es mi hogar, aquí crecí, aquí fue la escuela, aquí construí mi futuro y aquí ahora ayudo a formar el futuro de otros. Cuando tuve la oportunidad de obtener algún tipo de estatus migratorio, la aproveché. Desde el 2012 he solicitado DACA y gracias a DACA pude continuar mis estudios y convertirme en maestra. Me gradué de George Mason University en el 2019 con una licenciatura en estudios integrativos y en el 2020 obtuve mi maestría en educación primaria. Durante los últimos 6 años he tenido el privilegio de enseñar a cientos de niños. Todos los días ayudo a mis estudiantes a aprender a leer, resolver problemas, creer en sí mismos y soñar en grande para su futuro. Algunos de los niños a quienes he enseñado quizás algún día serán doctores, ingenieros, maestros o incluso miembros del Congreso. Estoy profundamente agradecida por DACA, pero vivir bajo una protección temporal por más de una década también significa vivir con incertidumbre. Cada 2 años me preocupa si mi renovación llegará a tiempo. Me preocupa perder la carrera por la que he trabajado tan duro. Me preocupa ser separada de la comunidad y de los estudiantes que dependen de mí. He pasado casi toda mi vida contribuyendo a este país. Lo único que pido es la oportunidad de seguir haciéndolo con certeza y dignidad. La oportunidad de solicitar no solo la residencia permanente, sino algún día también la ciudadanía. Como maestra, motivo a mis estudiantes a creer en su futuro. Espero que algún día yo también pueda sentir seguridad en el mío. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That was so beautiful. Gracias. So we'll open the discussion for questions in just one moment, but I'd like to conclude with a set of just remarks. And actually, I want to do the first question. Is it better for this country to see Annie Ramos, Kai, Dixie, and tens of thousands of dreamers as candidates for detention and deportation, or candidates for full participation in American life through the DREAM Act, as college graduates, as taxpayers, service members, and ultimately U.S. citizens. As Senator Durbin can attest, we've been talking about the need for a legislative solution for a quarter of a century. Even President Trump, as Don mentioned, has been consistent in saying we have to find a solution for dreamers. So let's make it happen this year. I like to say now is the time for us to do it. And if anybody has any questions, please raise your hand, let me know, and we can field the questions to the speakers. Yes.
So what is going to happen now? I mean, it's clearly that the government is, this administration is really coming to every immigrant, basically. So what is going to happen for you guys now? Because there doesn't seem to be any way out right now for DACA and for pretty much a lot of immigrants.
Yeah. Does anybody want to start? I can. Okay. So what I would say is that this is where it's really important that employers get involved, because they are going to lose teachers. We are seeing already nurses being out of work. We're seeing doctors. The New York Times has done several pieces where we have seen individuals not be able to get their DACA renewed on time, and they're without work. That means that you have a nurse who cannot be with her patient, a doctor who had to cancel a patient's surgery, a teacher who had to leave in the middle of her school year, so that a substitute teacher can come in and help. That is unsustainable for our country. That is unsustainable for our economy. And if they do it little by little, we might not feel it. But if you take out 500, 500,000 people out of the economy, I am sure we're all going to feel it. And so this is really important for the American public to get engaged and get involved. As we did during 2012 when we were asking President Obama, this is not just the Dreamers' fight, this is all of our fight. Yeah? Okay, yes.
Could I talk a little bit more about the delays in the renewal process, how long it's been, what typical past experiences were?
Thank you so much for asking that question. So I applied 6 months ago. My DACA expired at the beginning of this month. I have reached out to local representatives. I live in DC, so we do not have congressional representation. So the Office of Eleanor Holmes Norton has been really instrumental in helping me, to which they've not been receiving any clear answers as to why there's a delay when I adhere to the time period recommended, which is within that 150 days or greater for DACA renewal. So it's been waiting. It's still processing. The last that they told me is that it's been moved from one facility to another for a second set of renewals. But again, there's no clear answer as to why this has happened. I've never had this happen in the past. I've always been able to do my renewal successfully and receive my permit in time. But now this is something that has just cost me my job. I am currently on unpaid leave until my matter is resolved.
And about how long would it take during previous renewals? How many months?
So in the past, I've actually received it less than 3 months.
Thank you.
My program is scheduled to start in the fall. I am set to register for my first PhD class in August, but I can't do so until my DACA is renewed. Currently, I work at the Office of Corporate Relations at Howard University. So, yes.
Do we have any other questions? We can do questions in Spanish too. Somos bilingüe. A ver, dímelo de nuevo.
¿Qué va a pasar de aquí en adelante? Porque ustedes la verdad es que
Sí.
pues, están apretándole las puertas a todos los inmigrantes y no hay como salida para ahorita para la gente de DACA.
Sí, no hay ninguna discriminación de lo que estamos viendo. A todos los streamers estamos viendo que su permiso de DACA no lo están renovando, no lo están haciendo a tiempo. Hay personas como venezolanos que por ser de Venezuela, aunque han vivido aquí toda su vida, no han parado de poder procesarlo. Eso es muy preocupante. Y lo que vemos es que lo están haciendo poquito a poquito y capaz no se sienta en una comunidad, se sienta en un hospital, pero estamos hablando de 500,000 de personas que en este momento, si no tienen trabajo, toda la economía la va a sentir, los Estados Unidos va a sentir, y eso es un llamado a todas las personas que están viendo lo que está pasando. Necesitamos la ayuda. Esto no puede ser solamente la batalla de los Dreamers. Necesitamos a los empleadores, a nuestros amigos, a las mamás, como la mamá de Matthew que está apoyando a Annie. Y entonces esto es un llamado a nuestra comunidad entera que por favor nos ayude, que nosotros tenemos que levantar nuestra voz. Y es un llamado al presidente Trump. Sabemos que hay muchas cosas que vienen, elecciones, y esto va a ser muy importante. La economía, estamos viendo qué está pasando con el precio de la gasolina, con todo lo que es vivir. Entonces no podemos seguir oprimiendo al inmigrante. Gracias. Thank you. Okay. No other questions? Thank you all so much for being here, and thank you for our dreamers and the folks that came out to be with us today, and especially our speakers. Thank you so much. Okay, really quickly, I almost forgot, so sorry. We do have these posters back here. We worked really, really hard to put this website together. It's called dreamsdelay.com, and we're launching it today. This documents real stories from dreamers navigating DACA, renewal delays, job losses, educational disruption. We've already had over 120 individuals submit a story, and we're talking like people all across the country. So we invite dreamers to share their story, and we also invite folks in the media to see some of the stories that we are collecting. Thank you.